Right, let's get into the show. I'm witnessing many protests around the world ongoing currently, and in some cases with vast numbers attending them. And viewing some of the videos briefly, I saw a pattern of frequency emanating through the protesters of inner strength. Inner strength protests have more impact than outer strength protests. And all are comfortable standing together in a dignified manner for a common cause, and that is pleasing to see. Let's keep it rolling. They are on the run, and we must continue to chase them down without violence or low vibrational confrontation. I'm going to give a shout out to Karen Brewer, New Zealand, for calling it as it is. And she, like myself, praises the common law groups, but declared them useless in the current format. And here in her words is why. We have filed and signed petitions, sent letters, affidavits, done rallies, and it has got us nowhere. And I agree 100%. And this is why I call for an actionable law group to work with political activist groups. And I will leave you with her comment. Taking a piece of paper to a gunfight is stupid and pointless. And she also echoed my call for non-violent, non-compliance actions. Now, I had another busy week this week, up and down to the community village, with more members from California and Texas. And yet again, it's great to see how easily and smoothly we all got along. And like last week, I kind of exploded their heads a bit with some information, some of which is in the shows and some not. 2 more are now interested in moving, and with more coming here in the next 2 weeks. Well, we are expecting that to grow. Now, whilst viewing the village on Monday, Amy and I took the opportunity to look at a second village, this time in Colorado, that is a bit more green than the New Mexico one, and the view is equally pleasing on the eye. Now, we are looking into it currently, being a potential eco-village with eco-friendly homes at a very affordable rate. But it would require some time and funding for the infrastructure costs. Now, should we get the go-ahead, I will arrange a Zoom call to discuss the merits of that project as well. Now, the only issue with that is it is at 7,500 feet above sea level, and growing seasons are short as the air up there, which is a key part of the eco-village concept, but the scenery and location are beautiful though. Before we get into the news, I am aware of a breakaway group in the midst of the THI communal gatherings. And I asked the common sense question, how is dividing the group helping humanity? That doesn't help me or us. I know all the names, and I'm asking you all to reconsider your stances. United we stand, divided we fall. I was alerted to a brief video this week after one guy got the vaccine, and every time he goes near a phone or the TV, Bluetooth connects him and turns on the TV or phone. Oops. And it comes up on the TV as connecting with AstraZeneca CHAD-OX1-5. Now, further studies need to be made of this before this is a full confirmation of what I warned of in the Clowns in Panic show 3 years ago. We warned of technology. We warned of Robert David Steele's OSS group creating technology to hook people up to their phone, which is why he said the people will become the intelligence. And he stated he wanted to give all people phones at a cost of $4.5 billion to create the network. And what I'm asking now is, do you understand his terminology now? The people will become the intelligence. And this is why I warned all the agencies, militaries and governments, they are going to replace you all with this system. Agencies will be defunct as the people are the intelligence. Governments defunct as they want a central government of pre-selected clowns ran out of Jerusalem. Military defunct as all warfare will be cyber and robotic. Hello, McFly, in any of those departments. How many warnings do you require before you come and speak to us and formulate a better plan for us all? Yes, you lot, the generals. Wasn't the only person this week to call you out. And yes, they will try to seduce you all with titles, promises and pieces of paper with numbers on, that once they fully roll out their digital, hello digital wallet people, system will become worthless. Can you not see the writing on the wall? And this is to create the new AI in the sky. As it all goes into the cloud. You become the cloud, you become the intelligence, you become the spy, and welcome to your new AI sky cloud god. That was the God that you never prayed to, you were preyed upon. I might add. As many rise from the shock, but it's only a shock as people denied themselves the truth. This is a report from the UK. The Black Lives Matter movement has been a disaster for the UK. We imported an American culture war and made race relations worse as a result. Pro-BLM activists, academics and MPs have set back the cause of anti-racism. Oops. Just as we forecasted, the rise in racism is because the people are too stupid to realise they are being played over and over again. You wish to know why we have racial division? Well, here, right on cue, is an example of their lies. Exactly 100 years ago this week, Tulsa, Oklahoma, saw one of the biggest race massacres in American history. But for years, very few people were talking about it. Greenwood, known as the Black Wall Street, was one of the most prosperous, predominantly black areas in all of America. It wasn't one of, it was the. White or black. And the report says racial violence broke out on May 31st, and by the morning of 1st June 1921, an estimated 300 black people had been killed, with the Greenwood district devastated beyond recognition. That was a lie. They lie. The real story is it was way more killed, and it was all done by the US military, as we covered in the From Russia with Love 4 episode. And it's shameful the government are now using this now for an agenda, when they were responsible for the deaths to begin with. And it had nothing to do with white extremism and everything to do with the clown agendas. And if you don't believe me because I'm white, well, I'm a lot more tan these days. Go and check out Dane Calloway's YouTube site. It tells you all about your black history, and all of it was based on a lie. The remains of 215 children, some as young as 3 years old, were found at the site of a former residential school for Indigenous children, a discovery the Canadian Crime Minister Justin Trudeau described as heartbreaking on Friday. Now, the children were students at the Kamloops Indian Residential School in British Columbia that closed in 1978, according to the Tk'emlúps Nation. I hope I said that right. Probably didn't. Which said the remains were found with the help of a ground-penetrating radar specialist. And we had a knowing in our community that we were able to verify, said Chief Roseanne Casimir in a statement. And at this time, she said, we have more questions than answers. Now, Canada's residential school system, which forcibly separated Indigenous children from their families, constituted cultural genocide. And there was a 6-year investigation into the now defunct system found in 2015. Now, the report documented horrific physical abuse, rape, malnutrition, and other atrocities suffered by many of the 150,000 children who attended the schools, typically run by Christian churches. Well, I never. On behalf of Ottawa from the 1840s to the 1990s. And it found more than 4,100 children died while attending the residential school. Now, the deaths of the 215 children buried in the grounds of what was once Canada's largest residential school are believed to not have been included in that figure and appear to have been undocumented until the discovery. Trudeau wrote in a tweet that the news breaks my heart, and it's a painful reminder of that dark and shameful chapter of our country's history. You're as fake as a glass eye, Trudeau. Just saying. In 2008, the Canadian government formally apologised for the system. Indeed. I don't believe this is new news. We covered this in our show in detail with Kevin Annett at least 3 times, and the first being back in 2014. And one has to wonder, why now? Is it because Prince Philip is dead? Because he was involved in it. Him and Queenie took at least 10 children from their home and never returned them. None have been seen since. Now, a witness to that case was William Coombs. And by a quirk of fate, he was treated by my ex-girlfriend. And she declared he did not die of the reasons posted on his file. Some of the treatment he was getting was not conducive with the alleged condition. And it appears to the Common Sense Brigade that William Coombs was murdered to shut him up. But this is another victory for the so-called conspiracy theorists. I guess we were right again. Now, some people don't like Kevin, and some don't. Some people like Kevin and some don't. And personally, I don't care if Kevin has aliases or whether he's legit or not. I do care he highlighted the Kamloops genocide and others, and it has led to it being highlighted and now outed in public realms. So much so that the BBC decided not only to cover this and place their usual we didn't know and spin shit, but they also covered the Fauci emails, where they went to great lengths to cover Fauci's back when clearly the man is guilty as hell in his own words within the emails. And here is the BBC response to Fauci's emails. And it's utter shameful. And we need to find out where this woman resides and call her out publicly. No nastiness or threats required, please. Analysis by Tara McKelvey, BBC White House reporter. She said Fauci's emails are like a Rorschach ink blot. What you see in them reveals more about you than the ink blot, or in this case, the emails. For Trump supporters, I know in small Kansas towns and other rural areas, Fauci is a villain. He broadcasts conflicting messages about the virus, these Republicans say, and twists science. And they also say that he undermined President Trump. Hey Tara, you're a complete jackass. The emails proved he lied. They proved he gave conflicting evidence and he did twist the science. But that's all Trump followers' fault? Seriously? Are you incapable of basic reading skills? Or are you a puppet reading scripts for MI5 and MI6? Please go and get a new job, as you're clearly not qualified as a reporter. Dr. I don't give a Fauci lied to the world and the BBC also. And the point is, you are traitors to humanity, and the people will remember your actions when the hammer falls. Remember the story recently about we will not be able to eat meat, coming from Biden, masked man,